Hi, this is Mike from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and on today's video I'll be giving you just over 6 inches of joy in the colour of your choice. Keep watching to find out more. Okay, so in today's video we're going to give you just over 6 inches of joy in the colour of your choice, and although that does sound particularly like an innuendo, it isn't. This is actually a RGB extension cable for your PC. So this is otherwise known as a Strimer. Now there is a company called Lian Li, which most of you have probably heard of by now, who actually designed one of these a long time ago, but it was extremely expensive for what it was. Essentially what this does is it extends your normal 24-pin power connector from your ATX power supply, you know, the big one that goes into your motherboard, and adds a little bit of addressable RGB bling to it. Now it does that in a relatively straightforward way. Essentially, you've got two addressable RGB strips, which are connected with kind of fiber optic strands. The LED lights up the strand and it looks like the wires are illuminated, although realistically it's just a cover and the actual power wires are underneath doing the job they would normally do. So anyway, let's take a closer look at this one. This at the moment in the UK retails for somewhere in the region of about £30, which is somewhere in the region of about £15 cheaper than the Lian Li alternative. Now obviously the Lian Li one potentially could be of a slightly higher quality. This one is using 18 gauge cables, which are pretty much okay for most power supplies, although if you're getting up to the kilowatt levels, you might want to look at something a little bit better. But certainly for the majority of users who just want to add a little bit of addressable RGB bling to their PC, this is going to be absolutely fine. Now as you can see from the packaging, this is an RGB extension cable. This is for the 24-pin power connection. You can use it with a 20-pin as well, should you wish to. And you can also build up this kit, so if you do like the look of this and you want to increase it across your system, they do also 8-pin, 2x8-pin and 3x8-pin versions, so you can have additional splashes of colour throughout your rig. Now this is actually compatible on the 3-pin addressable RGB system, so this is the 5-volt system. Sadly, for those of you still rocking the slightly older 12-volt system, this is not compatible, and if you plug it in, essentially you'll blow it up. So please don't do that. If you don't have a 5-volt addressable RGB header, you can of course buy additional addressable RGB controllers, which we'll link in the video description. I'll be using one from GameMax a little bit later on in this video. I'm going to show you how it all works, just so you can get an idea of how to control it and how to connect it, etc, etc. Now it does actually support motherboards from Asus, Gigabyte, ASRock, etc, etc, MSI as well. And on the front of the box, it actually tells you the specific companies it supports. So we've got the Razer Chroma, we've got RGB Fusion 2.0, which is Gigabyte, we've got the Aurora Sync from Asus, and we've got MSI Mystic Light and the Polychrome Sync from ASRock. So it'll support all those motherboards with those particular features on. If we flip around onto the back, so we can see some of the specifications there, and also some of the features. So lighting, addressable RGB extension cable, 5-volt 3-pin as we said, so yeah, you get the general idea there. On the other side of the box we can see there it does the other versions which are available, so if you do want to expand it you can do. And that is pretty much it, other than at the bottom there we've got the branding. So this is from, I'm not entirely sure how you pronounce this, HJorth Gaming, HJorth Gaming, I'm not sure what is silent or whatever, but anyway, that is what it is called. That is the model number there, etc. This was kindly sent to us by Ugly Bob, so thank you very much, Bob. He does know how much I do love my RGB, and yeah, this is going to make a valuable addition to my main rig. So anyway, that's enough about it. Let's take a look inside and see what we actually get and how easy it is to use. Now obviously it's not going to be overly complicated. There isn't a great deal that you can do here. So essentially what we get inside the packaging is our 24-pin extension. So we've got there approximately 6 inches, just over, of addressable RGB lighting. On the flip side, you can see we've got the actual cables, the power cables, which transfer from one end to the other, and they're covered in a nice silver sheathing, which looks really good. There are 2 addressable RGB strips in here, so we've got one in this section here, and one in this section here, which are denoted by the 2 connections on here. So these are both 3-pin connections, which need to be connected. I'll show you the cable that does that shortly. There is in the middle a cable comb, so you can adjust that. So realistically, when you've got this in your PC, this is going to be the end which is actually going to attach to your motherboard with this clip here, and this is the end that you'll be plugging your power supply into. So power supply in one end, this in the middle, and this goes to your motherboard. So yeah, pretty straightforward, pretty flexible as well, so depending on the angle that you need to bend it to, it should be absolutely fine. Also included in the packaging, there is the addressable RGB cable. So this has got two 3-pin sections which connect up to the two spurs coming off of here, and the other end is our 3-pin 5-volt addressable RGB, and also there is a pass-through as well. So if you are limited on connections on your motherboard, then you can use that as a pass-through and daisy chain various devices. They do also include two female to female adapters should you need them, and there is also a instruction leaflet which tells you how it all connects together. Okay, so let's show you how it all goes together. So currently I've got a generic power supply here for illustration purposes. This is a GameMax addressable RGB controller. So this is going to be taking the place of a motherboard for this particular setup. This has got the 3-pin 5-volt addressable RGB connections actually on there. So all we need to do is to undo this cable first of all. First of all, we've got our 3-pin connections. So we'll connect these to the actual cable, and they just lock into position, and one on each end. And with that connected, you're left with this lead coming off, which is our 3-pin 5-volt connection. And all we need to do is to plug that into our motherboard. Again, in this particular instance, we're going to be using this controller. And there we go. That is effectively it. And that is what is going to happen inside your PC. So we'll tuck that wire behind there. So that is what it's going to look like inside your PC, which you're probably not seeing particularly well on the camera there, because the camera doesn't pick up because it's actually very, very bright. And even against the studio lights, it is very, very bright. Colors on there, really nice, looks good. And yeah, again, you're going to have your power supply coming in here. So if it was into your motherboard, it would be bending around something like that. Now I've adjusted the ISO on the camera so you can see the lighting a little bit better, and hopefully you can see that much better now. And I'm going to use the remote control here for this hub. So this would be the effect of changing something actually in your motherboard software. So you can go through the various modes, obviously change the colors however you see fit. And obviously that will be bent round more so in your motherboard. So that is the kind of look that you're going to get. And I think actually when it works with the cycling colors, or the kind of the different addressable options, that's when this thing actually really comes to life and does look particularly good. And obviously you are going to be limited to what your motherboard or your addressable RGB controller can actually provide. The one thing I will say is the red on here looks actually nothing like that in real life. It's actually a very nice bright red, whereas on camera it actually looks more of an orangey red. Then we've got our blues, which actually do look like a decent representation. The yellow, and then back to the pinks and purples, etc. So there we are, back to normal lighting, and as you can see now, it's doing what it should do. You've probably seen some cutaway footage. I am going to be putting this into my PC, which I'm saying now, which would probably be past tense because I've already done it from what you're seeing in the video. Anyway, regardless, let me know what you think about it. Do you think it looks good? Do you think it's too much? Do you think it's over the top? Or is that what addressable RGB lighting in a PC is kind of all about? That over the top, really kind of in your face lighting? Or maybe if it's just a static color, does it look a little bit more subtle? And potentially, could you even consider it stylish in some instances? Let me know what you think. I'd be very interested to hear your thoughts. So all it leaves me with to say thank you to Bob. Thank you very much for sending this to us. I'm very intrigued on how this is going to look inside my PC. Hopefully it looks great. I really hope it does, to add to the rest of the addressable RGB bling I've got going on in there. Yeah, let me know what you think about this one in the comments section. For now, I've been Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video. Thanks for watching.